Here on the Friendly Viewer. On this channel we keep you up to date with the latest on the Ronin-S, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check out the description below for links to these updates I'm going to be talking about. In this video we're going to talk about some new features in version 1.6.0.50 that came out in November 2018. It's all about the roll and some new features for different cameras. So let's go check it out, but first I'm going to be playing around with this gingerbread house that my kids made getting ready for the holidays and see if it doesn't bring a little magic. Let's go check it out. You may be wondering two things right now. Number one, yes, these are sports pants and they're super comfortable, especially under snow pants. And number two, this is the studio. It's completely under construction. The remodel turned into an entire basement remodel, taking a lot longer than I thought. So we're just gonna have to go with it. There are two updates. There's one for the app, which is version 1.1.6, and one for the Ronin firmware, which is version 1.6.0.50. You can get a weird mix and match of features if you update them separately, but you should update them together at the same time for compatibility reasons so they're not mismatched. I will say that updating the firmware on the Ronin, I had some issues. At one point I thought I bricked it, it said it was an error. I tried it out, it was just dead. I couldn't do anything with it. I tried it over and over again and eventually it took. My suggestion would be make sure you're following those instructions on the release notes, and if it doesn't take, just repeat them over and over again until it finally does take. It took me a little bit longer this time, but finally it's working. There's a few new features having to do with roll, so let's talk about those first. So if you go into your standard roll mode where you have the third channel as roll, so I move to that mode and I put it in flashlight mode and point it forward. Now, and I'll do this on the side here so you can see, when you double tap, it's going to go into auto roll 360 and it's just going to continue to roll forever until you double tap the trigger and it'll come to a nice stop. So you can see that again. I'm going to double tap the other direction and it's going to roll, click twice, and it'll come to a stop. It comes to a stop at the top every time. So that's a nice interesting feature. It's not going to work in any other mode unless you're in flashlight mode. I think it's to prevent it from hitting itself. And also I noticed that the record button doesn't work while you're operating in the spinning mode, which you're probably not going to start and stop that a lot. In that mode, probably not a big deal. So that's feature number one. Feature number two is 3D auto roll. Feature number two is called 3D auto roll. So this is a different one. Now watch when I put it in here. You can see how it locks and shakes in place. So this is a new feature. You're going to see it in the app where you can enable it in the control settings. Whenever you enable it though, it's going to disable a whole bunch of other features, smooth track, a bunch of create features. It's because it's going to put it in this different limited format. It's going to make it where it either points out straight 90 degrees this way, or if I double tap, it's going to point straight up, and it's going to be relative to this axis. So what this is useful for is if you wanted to roll and do that spinning shot at an angle before, that's really hard to do with the joystick. In this mode, you just turn it to the side, and it's just going to spin right along this axis here. If I do it this way, it's going to just do the pan movement this direction. So it's just going to lock it in those positions. What you're going to find though is there is no more, it's smooth track really or anything. It's going to just keep pointing wherever you're pointing this. It's almost like it's in sports mode the entire time. So this is handy. You just put it in, you turn it to the side and go. I did notice that the auto roll does not work with this. I thought they would have put that in there, but it doesn't. Maybe that will come around next time. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these new roll functions. The third feature, which is more of a setting, is you can now disable selfie mode. So that's the triple tap that will spin it around towards you. You can go into the settings section, go to more, and click on that toggle to disable it. It's going to disable it for all the user modes, so it's a global setting. And I'm assuming that people just kept accidentally clicking on it and didn't want it anymore, so that's what they did. It would have been maybe nice if that would have been selectable per the mode. Use it, so now if I triple tap, nothing happens. Now for the compatibility updates as they keep updating the firmware. First up is Panasonic. The GH3 and GH4, you can do the half button autofocus press with the RSS-P cable. With the GH5 and GH5S, you can now do some settings in the app, although I couldn't find them. Perhaps if you plug it in, it pops up. I couldn't find them. I searched around for a while, so let me know in the comments if you find them and tell me what's in there. Similar to that, I couldn't find anywhere, but Sony, you can now adjust the zoom speed. And now for the Nikon Z7 and Canon 1DX Mark II. If anyone wants to send me one, I'd be glad to try one out. Probably not gonna happen. It now supports taking pictures, starting to stop in video, focus pull with select lenses and autofocus. So those things are now supported in there. You can connect them up and run those things. There are some minor bug fixes. They fixed some issues with the Canon 5D Mark IV, where there's freezing that happens with the shutter control. And they also fixed an issue with the Panasonic GH5 and GH5S, where if you use the HDMI port to have an external display, and we're using the controls, occasionally things would freeze up and the Ronin would freeze. So hopefully that's all fixed for you now. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and thought it was useful. I'm gonna go check out the description of that gingerbread house and also the snow. All right.